my son, who's a huge Giants fan, was on the set, and he, a lot of people's kids miraculously decide they wanted to work on this set. I've been trying to get like my son, but suddenly like all of our kids are there, and they're just like, supposedly working, but they were just gawking. And
of course.
we're, my big Giants fans, and at the last play of the commercial is, a pitch to Saquon Barkley, and then he hurdles a defender, and these guys were going hard. Like LaDainian Tomlinson went real hard. I thought I knocked him unconscious at one point. Some of them were going really hard. Barkley was hurdling, and we did like 4 or 5 takes right there.
Yeah.
And literally on the 5th take, my son came back to where I was working. He said, "Okay, that's it. No more. You're not doing it anymore. You're not doing it anymore." And
your son told you to cut?
And he's like, I'm not kidding. This is excessive. You've got the shot. There's no point in no more. And
this is 2019 to be played and beyond.
The Giants especially have we've got a lot to prove.
Right.
And Odell did a one-handed catch, and my son was concerned about that. Going through the table too many times.
So hold on a second. Pete Berg here on the Rich Eisen Show. When Odell went up and he went through the table? That was not any...
So that was one that we may have done a little visual effect on.
Okay.
He went up and caught... It's funny because so we had we had a lot of stunt guys there, and we had a stunt guy who was a quarterback trying to throw it so Odell could get up, really elevate and make a one-handed catch. And Odell fell into a pad, and then we broke a table, and we visually composite them.
There you go.
But we couldn't get the throw right. And it's interesting to see some of these players just such fascinating guys. And Larry Fitzgerald
yeah.
was Larry Fitzgerald and Richard Sherman, such curious human beings. Like a lot of the players would just come in and leave. Fitzgerald sat right by me for hours, and he wanted to understand how we do what we do, and he asked 1,000 questions, and we were trying to get the throw right for Odell, and our guy couldn't do it, and we went like 15 takes, and Larry's like, "I got this." He just walked in, looked at Odell, told Odell what the pattern, and hit it one take perfectly. And Odell fully extended, and Larry just came back and sat down with me. I mean, such a nice guy. And
so wait a minute, hold on a second. Montana's in the room.
Yeah.
All those quarterbacks in the room. Bradshaw's in the room.
Yeah.
And so the part where Odell one-hands that's a ball thrown by Larry Fitzgerald?
Larry Fitzgerald threw it. One take.
One take, Larry.
And I'll tell you who can still throw is Terry Bradshaw. Bradshaw was throwing that ball 50 yards. He kept hitting a chandelier that was 50 yards away. And finally, our production designer, this guy, Neil Spizak, was like, "He's going to break the chandelier. He's got to stop." And Terry Bradshaw is, of everyone, him and Barry Sanders, there are a lot of them. I mean, LaDainian was still going full out, but LaDainian is a little younger.
He's not yet 40.
No. Sanders and Bradshaw were probably the two. And Bradshaw, of all of them, if you ask me who surprised me the most with his athleticism, it was definitely Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Well, and Barry Sanders, so he still had the spin moves?
Still, you can see in the commercial, he pulls up, spins, and we had stunt doubles for everyone. We were very mindful of not wanting to hurt anyone. And Barry's like, "No, absolutely not. I'll do this." And Barry was really athletic. And one of the cool things about this commercial, it's obviously meant to be fun, and it was fun, and I think it's very funny. But for those of us that were there that are football fans, which I'd say 99% of the people in that room were, surprisingly emotional, to see Saquon talking to Franco Harris, to see Odell talking to Jerry Rice, and the transition, the totality of the experience, to see the young guys and Jim Brown, and everyone in between. You really kind of, for me, as someone that grew up with football, I got to sort of have this timeline of, and it was very emotional, of experiencing these different players that represented different eras in football and different eras in my life. So it was really I think, one of the coolest things I've ever done.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.